Well, CNN's Jim Acosta is back in the spotlight. This time, Vivek Ramaswamy gets a crack at the emotional journalist. And just for some of you that need a refresher, here's a quick look at Jim Acosta's outstanding and award-winning so-called journalism.
Aren't you trying to change what it means to be an immigrant coming into this country? If you're telling them you have to speak English, can't people learn how to speak English when they get here?
Well, first of all, right now, it's a requirement that to be naturalized, you have to speak English. So the notion that speaking English wouldn't be a part of our immigration systems would be actually very ahistorical.
Hi, I'm Steve Inman with Resist the Mainstream, reporting the news that the mainstream won't. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest videos. Well, Jim Acosta is no stranger to being a journalist troll who doesn't actually bring factual questions, but instead tries to get a rise out of politicians with opposing views, but always gets owned instead. He's the media's most dangerous can that gets kicked around by those who don't follow the mainstream narrative. Although Acosta's videos always go viral, they usually go viral for all the wrong reasons, and not in Acosta's favor. His recent guest, 2024 presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, was prepared for the typical CNN questions about his support of Trump, while Acosta paid more attention to his earpiece with dud questions than his guest Ramaswamy.
It would be easier for me if Donald Trump were eliminated from competition. That is not how I want to win. I stand on the side of principle, not politics.
There are now four different indictments.
When I say we need to unite this country.
Yeah, let me jump in. There have been four different indictments. You don't think he's committed any crimes in any of these indictments?
I don't think any of the indictments have demonstrated that he committed a crime, no. And I've written on the pages of the Wall Street Journal and elsewhere wearing a technical legal hat, and you and I can go into that detail if you're interested.
Refusing to return classified documents?
Clearly politically motivated. Well, let's just take that one as an example. That indictment made zero mention of the Presidential Records Act, the most recently passed act that relates to a president, including an outgoing president's access to documents. The fact that this is a 49-page indictment, that was silent on that fact, reveals smacks of politicization. I also think that the fact that they use the Espionage Act, one of the most un-American acts in U.S. history, that has been used to round up anti-war activists, that was used to lock up Eugene V. Debs when he ran for president.
But do you think it's okay to have classified documents? You think it's okay for you to have classified documents laying around the Ramaswamy household?
No, it's not. But I think that there's a difference between a bad judgment and a crime. And the Presidential Records Act expressly gives the U.S. president access to those records.
And he didn't return them. They asked for the documents back.
Again, I would have made very different judgments.
Yeah.
Look, Jim, I am running in the same race that Donald Trump is. So I'm not saying that every judgment he made was the same judgment I would make. In fact, it wasn't. But that is different from charging it as a crime, which I think sets an awful precedent in our country. If you want to get a little technical
in the federal
about
election
it, Jim,
case, he lied about the election. He tried to overturn the election results. Why not call him out for that as well?
I will remind you the Supreme Court's precedent in Alvarez, a 2012 case, which held that public officials, including politicians, have a First Amendment right to lie, to tell the truth, to even make statements they didn't believe, let alone the fact that there isn't a shred of evidence to suggest that Trump didn't even believe his own claims. And so we can get into the legal technical details all we want. That's going to happen in the courtroom. But as a matter of judgment, as somebody who is running to and expects to be the next president of the United States, my top job is to reunite this country. And my way of doing that is going to be to pardon Donald Trump on day one and to pardon really anybody else who was also the victim of a politically motivated persecution through prosecution.
CNN bringing Ramaswamy on was all about trying to get that gotcha moment that never actually happened. Acosta paid more attention to his earpiece and, like a real journalist, should have done his homework. Ramaswamy easily could have been frustrated while thinking he was originally there to be interviewed as the 2024 presidential candidate. Ramaswamy kept his cool, as always, while Acosta tries to stir the pot.
We have to move forward as a country, and I think this sets a dangerous precedent unless we actually pardon.
But Mr. Ramaswamy, you just said you want to wait for all the details, the technical details to come out at trial, but you're declaring beforehand that you would pardon him. Why not listen for the facts to come out at trial and then make that determination?
I'm saying it based on one assumption. The assumption is that the statements in each of the indictments are the most prosecution favorable statements we're going to get. Any legal scholar would tell you that is a fair assumption. In any case, the prosecution always puts up its strongest foot in the indictment itself. We haven't even heard from the defense. So yes, if there are gaping surprises that come up, I mean, there's zero evidence to suggest that Trump was selling those secrets to foreign adversaries for private gain. But if those facts come up, of course, I would revisit my judgment. But the fact of the matter is the prosecution obviously makes the most aggressive statement of its case in the indictment. And assuming that's the case here, as it is in any other case, I will absolutely pardon Trump on day one, January 20th, 2025, when I'm in office.
Amazing they keep bringing up classified documents, yet Biden had classified documents in his garage, and they have the nerve to sit there with a straight face to think that there's any case.
My whole point is there's a difference between a bad judgment and a crime. And the moment that we conflate
a lot of crimes
the
start
two,
with bad judgments,
that
don't
is
they?
the moment that we have a threat to liberty.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay, but if you actually have to have committed a crime to be prosecuted for one. So making a very bad judgment as a politician, that's a basis for a voter to make a decision. But that's how we've got to do things in the United States of America. We have to let the people of this country decide who actually runs the country, not a federal administrative police state. And I just think that sets a dangerous and deeply problematic precedent in this country. And that is why I've been so vocal against it. That is why I'm clearly committed to pardoning Donald Trump if he is convicted.
And if there is a case, then Obama, Biden, every president before that should be in jail, right? Guess not. Got to be a Democrat. Again, I'm Steve Inman with Resist the Mainstream, reporting the news that the mainstream won't. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest videos. Till next time, take care. We'll see you then.